Now, it's not that Madam Vice President is a horrible person or she's evil, etc. It's not it at all. It's like, have you heard of the Peter Principle? Peter Principle? Yeah. Where people are promoted to the point where they are no longer functional and can't perform the job. Heard of this? So, Madam Vice President sat down with Fox News, the evil Nazis over there at Fox News. And who is this man I'm kind of sucking this off of? Hold on a second. Because I couldn't find it. I don't know if that means anything or not, but the real gospel chops is the man doing this work for us. So let's go ahead and listen and see what happens, because this might be interesting. Okay, sir, go on.
Relief aid has already been dispersed to people affected by Hurricane Helene. Nearly 200,000 in the state have applied for federal assistance. Media reports in Israel say the Israeli government has decided on targets in Iran for potential retaliation over recent missile attacks by the Islamic Republic. One report says Israel has described its general attack plans to the U.S., but had yet to give an update on specific targets. The Dow climbed 337 points today to another.
Well, that's nice. I like that because I'm going to retire in a few years. Stoke up that Dow Jones Industrial Average. God damn it. Make it go higher.
Record close. The S&P 500 finished
43,000. I think I told this story. 1971 or 2, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was 1,000, and that was a big fucking deal when Nixon was president. Now it's 43,000. There you go.
Had 27. The Nasdaq was up 51. The latest Fox News poll out tonight has former President Donald Trump with a 2-point advantage nationally over Vice President Harris among likely voters. That flips the Democrats' 2-point edge in September.
Yes, sir.
Now, to my exclusive interview with Vice President Harris.
Okay, let's go.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Bret.
You know, voters.
Again, she's not a stupid person. She can be amiable. She can be likable, smiles nice, she's pretty. This office is out of her league, if I have to reiterate the point. Peter Principle, just a little bit outside of her skill set. And that's not a slam. It really isn't, because I thought Madam Vice President Harris was a hell of a senator. Now, I disagree with her point of view and her politics, whatever, but I thought she did a really good job. You know, whatever her point of view is, the Democrat Party, the communists, whatever, she did it. I just think it's a little bit out of her reach here. Well, I mean, but my God, why do you hate women? I don't hate women. I don't care if she's black or Indian or fucking Jamaican. I think it's a bit of a reach for this woman. That's it. Nothing against her. I'm sure she's fine. She's nice and everything. Just a little bit out of her grasp here. But all right, Bret, go ahead.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, every one of them illegal immigrants displaces an American in a job somewhere. Let's talk about that, because it's jobs Americans won't do. That's what Bill Clinton said. Well, yeah, not at $2 an hour. Do we understand we're in we are in the situation of modern slavery? Didn't we talking about that? People from Mexico coming in, South America, they're slaves. They are slaves. No one wants to say a thing? Is that right? Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have.
Uh-huh.
And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a
which
number?
is-
Do you
but-
think
but,
it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the
It's 30 million. 30 million, sweetheart.
point. Okay, the point is
My apologies. Sweetie, Madam Vice President.
that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
Yeah, so Joe Biden, or you as the president, Madam President Harris, you could fix that with executive orders, yet you refuse. Now, why is that? Let's think about this for a minute. Why would they keep saying they have to go back to Congress to get this thing fixed? I wonder if they want to blame the Republicans because they won't pass all this other nonsense they're talking about. I know. I don't want to be mean. This candidate is out of her league. She's out of her league. Peter Principle. Here we go. Oh, the other one. This one.
Your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish.
Excuse me. Madam Vice President Harris, she's got some fucking balls coming on Fox News. We have to admit that, right? I mean, she's got huge, hairy fucking sacks between. Well, who knows anymore? She might be.
I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico.
Wait, can I not stop anymore? Excuse me. How could they reverse Trump policies that were, well, they have to be passed through Congress.
And you switched that policy.
That's some nice hair dye there, bro. Just goddamn. Is that shoe polish there, bro? Come on now, Bret. Come on now.
Awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
Excuse me. If I could say one thing.
Practically
Excuse me.
Taking the oath.
Excuse me. Here we go.
The first bill that we offered.
Whoa, am I in the wrong thing here? You just said, Madam Vice President, that the president can't do anything about immigration unless he gets through it. Congress. Huh. So wouldn't that also include rejecting things that were
Congress. Before we worked on infrastructure, before
is this computer going? Excuse me.
Reduction Act.
Excuse me.
Me.
Madam Vice President. I believe you told us 30 seconds ago that, well, we got to get it through Congress to do anything, yet Donald Trump did something. And you undid what Donald Trump did without Congress. Well, that's interesting. How did that happen?
Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? So how did Joe Biden, as the president of the United States, issue an executive order to shit can that if it had to go through Congress? Well, let's think about that. Have another beer.
It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish?
Yeah, let her finish. Come on. We want to hear this. Go on, Madam Vice President.
May I finish responding, please?
Yes, please.
You have to let me finish.
You had the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and
in
they
the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to the point you're raising,
Okay.
and I'd like to finish.
Okay, all right.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people.
Really? I don't think you're listening to the American people about illegal immigration, Vice President. All due respect. Not sure you're actually hearing what people are saying about that. Even the black guys down at the barber shop. Oh my God. Hispanics, men, women, other people. We love people to come into our country, but legally. Is that hard of a concept? Yes, it is for the Democrats. Or shall I say, the communists. Down at the barber shop with the free wings and the grape juice.
And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done
Yeah, well, how do you define, though, fixing a problem? Madam Vice President, when you're president, how are you going to fix the problem? Please define what the problem is. The problem is Americans don't agree with this shit. We're going to, I'm just not even going there. Everyone in the United States, 90% of people, it's like, I don't want people coming in over the border to take my jobs. Talk to me about the barber shop. What about Hispanics? Hola, ¿cómo está? Hispanic people, good quality people, come here and they say, I don't want these people coming in to take my fucking job because I went through the process. I did the thing. Statue of Liberty. Swear on, a stack of Bibles, all that shit. And we've got millions of people coming across the border. Explain that to me. How does this work? Again. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. President Clinton says, well, oh my God, I feel your pain. But if we don't get some more illegals in here, we're just gonna need it. Really? And that great replacement thing is a fucking conspiracy theory by the Russians and aliens and Donald Trump and Zelensky. Huh. Well, I guess he didn't get the goddamn memo. I didn't get the memo because I'm 85 years old and Hillary's been by for how many years? Go on, ma'am.
a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten.
More judges for what, though? What are we going to get some more judges for? Wait a minute. I'm making some soup here because I'm a goddamn American.
Penalties and increase penalties for illegal
bullets in that shit.
What we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's what we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state. Prosecuted drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just say,
Democrats voted against
learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what
now, Madam Vice President, here down at the barber shop with the watermelon, get back on the plantation, you black man. How do you fix the problem? What is the fix? It's a serious question, isn't it? Well, Donald Trump wanted to do this, and he's an evil Nazi. What is your fix? Your fix is to let everyone come in and get amnesty. Now, can we see why some people might not support that? Hispanics, black people, white people, Asian people, Americans, all of us, it's like, nah, that's not a good idea, ma'am. We don't want that. And you don't give a fuck what the American people want because you have an agenda. Don't you, ma'am? You apparently think that 90% of the American people want to deal with this like you do. My God, maybe she's wrong. Oh, stop it. Obviously, if she's wrong, it's Donald Trump's problem.
They want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue, but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Yeah, but it depends on the fix, doesn't it? What is your solution? See, isn't that the problem? Your solution is to open the borders and flood the country with people who are not here legally. And then, once we get enough of them in here, I don't know, 10 million, we got to give them some of that amnesty there. Now, tell me about your constituency, ma'am. What do you think about black men, black women, Hispanic women, Hispanic men, Asian people, white people? I know, my God, they're Nazis. Why is it that 90% of American people don't agree with you about your solution? Just curious.
It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly,
it ain't just the goddamn conservatives down there at the barber shop. It's Americans. Can we not take care of our own people? Now, a lot of people want to get to this country. Anyone have any ideas why that would be? Because we're the best country in the fucking world. Why wouldn't people want to come here? We don't denigrate them or castigate them or tell them oh my God, they're evil and they're brown or whatever. We understand why people want to come to this country. Fucking A, I would. Are you kidding me? But we got to have a process, and we can't let the whole fucking world come in to the United States. Sorry, we can't help everybody. And especially we can't help everybody if we can't even help our own people. Oh my God, that sounds like Nazis and shit. Of course you think it does. Let's fix our own problem. And then when we got our own problem fixed, we got all this fucking cash flowing down from heaven, then we can talk about the rest. Why don't we get our veterans, black men and women, all these other people doing things that are going to be beneficial? Excuse me, hamster. Vice President Kamala Harris wants to give free weed to black men and Bitcoin because they can't figure out how to do it. Are you fucking kidding me? Is there a chance we could be more racist? I think we're there. Oh my! Well, wait a minute. Oh, Trump's the Nazi. Trump is the Nazi. Get the fuck out of here.
Original premise. Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley. They are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before.
Excuse me. My name is Bill Clinton. I used to be president. Now, if Kamala had that vetting going on, these 3 women here and a lot of other people would not be murdered and raped. So I think we should think about that for a little. Oh, no. Bill Clinton went off the plantation, and now what are we going to do?
A negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed.
I mean, does the vice president realize yet she is not the one? But Bill Clinton and Obama, and then do you not understand what's going on here? Vice President Harris, come on now. You're beyond your capability at this point. Maybe it's time to regress, go back, learn some skills, and then come back in 4 years. I don't think this is your time, ma'am. Go on, Bret.
So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you,
it wasn't me, it was Donald Trump. Because evil. He's evil. Oh my God. Lord Black Eagle is here. Hello. Yeah, you want bit. I read your I read your message this morning, Lord Black Eagle. Good to see you, man. Hope everything is well. All right. Let's go back to this bullshit. By the way, Lord Black Eagle, are you going to vote for Kamala Harris or are you going to vote for the Trump? The man with huge balls and a big dick. I don't know if you're a black guy or not, but you're going to vote for this shit? Get out of here.
families an apology.
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no.
It's like an hour and a half of this shit. All right.
No question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Yeah. Due to your policies. Yeah. Madam Vice President, you allowed this to happen. Laken Riley, or whatever, the unfortunate women in the last slide, out for a jog or doing their lives and they want to live their lives. They were raped and murdered by people let in by you. Do you have no decency, madam? Do you want our country to be a friendly place where people can come in, everybody gets along, and oh my God, but that's the 1950s and women were oppressed and Do you see how this fits together? It's not hard to connect the dots. All right, go ahead.
For a loss that should not have occurred.
And if we didn't let these people in on the border without vetting and just let them fucking come in, it wouldn't have happened. Bill fucking Clinton just said it. And Bill Clinton is right. What the fuck are you? Oh, we got to wait for Congress. And I can't do anything. Get the fuck out of here. Let's take care of Americans first. And when we get everything figured out, or most things figured out, then we can start talking about Mexican people. And I'm not sitting here saying Mexican people are going to come in and rape everybody. But some people who cross the border are criminals, murderers, and fucking rapists. What are we going to do about that? Nothing? Wow, that's Donald Trump's fault. Go on.
So that is true. It is also
yes,
true
it is. Yeah.
that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would
and
be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice
I mean, those are, great people, men and women down there at the border. That's a tough job. But let's see how we can tag Trump on this one.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And
what's the future? Define it. What year do you believe the future is? Madam Vice President. When? 2035, 2045, 2055. Where is the future? What does that look like? Tell us about it.
this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election. Because
I thought Donald Trump kind of did that. And all you did as a senator is bitch about it. Oh, we can't put that wall up because that wall is a waste of fucking money. Really? Wow.
there was a solution, Bret.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision.
What was the solution? Just curious. How'd that work?
In the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do
Now. You got American citizens out here saying we're sick of this bullshit. Not that we hate brown people or Chinese people who are coming in. Massive amounts of Chinese guys coming in from the border. Can we just stop it for a little while? Let's get our own shit together and then we can talk about it. No. Why would we want to do that? God damn it.
you owe them an apology is what
I
I'm saying.
will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss.
Yeah, I am too. And you were the instigator of that loss. How can you explain that? Ma'am, how can you explain that? Oh, but Congress had to do something, and the full moon and Venus rising and shit. You and Joe Biden had the power to stop this shit, and you didn't. So explain to me exactly how that's going to work out. What are you going to do? Are you going to stop the border people or not? Not forever, just for a while. Like a little bit of reset. Kind of get back to, hey, let's take care of Americans down at the barber shop. Nothing. Because these people don't care about you. Am I making myself clear?
Sincerely.
No, you're not.
But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions.
Can we blame Trump on something here shortly?
Let's talk about that as well.
Oh, God, all right.
In all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
But you approved it. You did this. What are we going to do about it? Oh, Trump is worse, though. He's an evil Nazi.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was.
your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
Again, it depends, Brett. What is the definition of secure? It's amazing how these people use these weasel words. Well, it's secure, it's safe, and you think secure means a certain thing, and they mean something else. Go on.
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before.
Excuse me, ma'am. Oh. Madam Vice President, you and Joseph Biden were elected in 2020 and 2021 you took office. You have not done a goddamn thing about it. Nothing. And now you're going to sit here and blame Donald Trump for, oh, well, he should have done something. What the fuck did you do? Excuse me.
Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear. I think we all are.
And how many years did you have to fix it? Oh, well, sorry. It's Donald Trump's fault. The shadow, the ghost of Christmas past. You were in power. You're the vice president of the United States. Now, you did nothing. Oh, excuse me. Now you're going to fix it. Now you're going to fix it. Oh, my God.
That it needs to be fixed.
Uh-huh.
We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist.
Yeah. Did you notice that the Border Patrol Union endorsed Donald Trump? Now, why would they do that? If you got this great plan and Donald Trump sucks because he's a Nazi. How do you explain that one? Go on.
They will tell you we need more judges. We need to process. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those.
Process those. Process them fast. In other words, we need to get them in the goddamn country faster. What the hell? How do you guys not know this?
To be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately.
Except the rapists and the murderers and the fucking drug dealers and the fentanyl guys and the children traffickers. Except for them. Now, excuse me. Would love to hear your response to that.
Ultimately, is the only place that's going to get fixed, Bret.
Well,
now, here's the deal, though. If a white man, for example, a passing white man came over the border with Mexico, do you think he's going to be let in without vetting? But the cartels and the gangs, no fucking problem. Oh, you're trafficking children? That's just not a thing. Fentanyl, that's just a thing. Raping and killing women? That's fine. Do you believe what you're seeing, people? Go on.
How the system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90 plus executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump policies. I'm not going to.
Yes, because the president has the authority to control immigration. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did we miss that? Donald Trump's a Nazi. Do you fucking believe this shit? It's amazing.
Stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did.
Except they didn't.
They supported it, but they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated. And
because you're a failure?
I get it. They want some.
Oh my God, why are you misogynist? It has nothing to do with her gender, her whatever, her color. She fucking sucks. They're trying to push her into a position where she has no chance of succeeding. But you think it matters? No, of course it does.
Support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock.
Yes. And the executive branch, the president of the United States, has the authority to limit immigration into the country. Let's not talk about that.
Get
though.
it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that
No, you don't get it because you're an idiot.
look back at what you said in 2019 when
Too far beyond your. Well, go
you
on.
first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Now, here's the thing, though. They're not taking into account Kamala and Joe Biden. What about the schools in Texas, for example? They have to have 3 or 4 or 5 different English as a second language teacher. Are we talking about those monies? Where are those coming from? Wow, they're just what happens if we bring those illegals up there to New York City or Martha Vineyard? Oh my, that's different. Do you see what's going on? I think you do.
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
Of course. If it's anti-American, she fucking supports it. Are we getting there somehow? Yes.
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz.
Are we going to talk about the middle class and McDonald's and shit?
That we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So,
but you haven't done it for the last 3.5 years. How's that? How is that happening? You were in charge. You're the vice president of the United States, the second in charge of the fucking world, and you didn't do it. And so suddenly now we're supposed to believe that when you take the place of the carcass of Joe Biden, you're going to do this. You are fucking full of shit.
Decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border
And how does this make sense?
crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
Well, because you're not, you don't have the authority as vice president. Go on.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel.
And here we go. And here we go.
To the Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people.
Except you don't think millions of people coming into the border is a threat. What about the people up there in Aurora, Colorado? Are they a threat? You gonna prosecute them? I guess no. Go on.
And cross our border with the intent of doing us harm, and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that.
Again, you have to define what you mean. Madam Vice President, you have to define what do you mean harm? What does that mean? Oh, these people coming across the border. What is the harm? That Americans can't get a goddamn job? It's not the harm you're thinking of, is it? Oh no, I'm talking about the cartels that come in and traffic people. Okay, well that's important. What about people who just want to get a fucking job? American citizens. Nothing.
That work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Isn't that nice?
Surgery. For prisoners, every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So, how do we define harm to our children? Curious, how do you define harm? HARM. Just wondering.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
Of course she is. Because that is the fucking plan. Go on.
I will follow the law. And it's a law.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What we need to do is parse the words of these people, just like they parse the words of Donald Trump. Oh, I think we did. What'd you say? Let me go back in time.
Transition to another gender.
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
Mm-hmm. Really?
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And
So, someone who's a tranny could get arrested for, I don't know, stealing some shit from Walmart and get a free tranny operation. Got it.
I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries.
You know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no.
Except for the illegal immigration, right? Other than that,
it's great.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment?
I will follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
Define the law, then. Love to hear that.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's.
She would have the ultimate thing to say as president. Yeah. So what you going to do, girlfriend? Yeah. You're going to pay for weird fucking crazy people to do their thing in college or in fucking jail. Why should the American taxpayer deal with that? Shouldn't that be a personal thing? Why should I have to pay for that? Well, but because you're a Nazi. Jesus Christ. God. Unbelievable. All right, go ahead.
He spent $20 million on those ads, trying to
$20 million on what?
Create a sense of fear in the voters, because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people.
Yeah, the needs of the American people. 90% of the American people, black guys, Hispanic guys, Chinese guys, women, men, we don't want to pay for this bullshit. We don't want to pay. If you want to do your thing, you want to get your kink on, bro. You want to wear high heels. Good for you. We don't want to pay for it. Madam Vice President doesn't seem to get this at all.
Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that,
I don't care what the fucking money is. Americans don't want to deal with this shit. It's simple. And she's going to waffle all this. Guide. Americans, they don't hate people. And I don't want to pay for it. How about that? Can we agree with that? No.
Relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people. It's really quite remote. And again,
yes, it is. There's very few people who are trans. So why do we have to go out of our way to redesign the fucking country to appeal to a few percentage of people? Seems like that would be, figure something out, right? Maybe a couple of bucks here to do the thing. But if you're an adult and you want to you want to go to the thing, God bless you, man. Or woman, or whatever. I have no problem with that. But don't make me pay for it. Just like I want a Mercedes car. I want a Mercedes Benz. God damn it. Well, you should have to pay for that because I want it. Get the fuck out of here. Waffle.
And his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They
On
say
plans for the
but
American
we'll move
people,
on.
I'm offering
Yeah,
a
let's look at where we are, ma'am.
plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering
Yes. And you signed the goddamn inflation bill that made housing unaffordable. And don't even start with this. Don't even start. You let millions of people come into the country and they need a place to stay. And you're sitting here saying, well, it's Donald Trump that did that. Are you fucking serious? You did that. You signed your name on the fucking line. You did it. And drove the housing prices up fucking 200 or 300%. Believe Donald
offering a
Trump.
plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen.
Mm-hmm. Remember that inflation thing. Do you understand that, ma'am? And again, I'm not saying she's stupid. She's out of her league. Go on.
Small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to go buy a house. You know what I found out the other day? In a place where I would like to go, rural, out in the country, right? Nobody there, no big cities. It would cost me $700,000 to get a starter house. Excuse me, ma'am. We're going to do anything about the supply? No, of course not. Now, why is the supply diminished? Do we understand what's going on? If you bring in millions of people, they got to live somewhere, ma'am. Go on.
I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy.
Tell me, excuse me, ma'am, how can I get a house? You talk about the American dream, a middle-class woman. Tell me what you're going to do to make it more affordable for me to buy a house and raise my family. Nothing. Zero.
Economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs.
Well, there's a guy down there at the barber shop told me that was the way to go. God damn.
And recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker,
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of
because they're Nazis?
Our plans for what we would do as president of
something like that, yeah.
The United States.
Nazis.
It has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would.
So tell me, how are you going to increase the supply of houses so the prices go down? Talk about that? Well, but I mean, tell me, what are you going to do to increase the supply of housing? Nothing? Oh, Trump is a Nazi. Right.
Be again to give tax cut to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up.
I don't give a shit about that. Tell me how we're going to build more houses so people can fucking afford a house. Now, Vice President Harris, you want to tax my unrealized gains. I haven't even realized it. I don't have the cash in my pocket, but something went up in your 401k and you got to fucking pay me taxes. Are you kidding me? I thought you were about all the evil fucking billionaires. What about me, Mr. Hamster? Makes $100,000 a year. I got a couple of things in the fucking bank, and you're going to take that. You're going to tax me if I have a gain. What the fuck is this?
Our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that.
Peter Principle. Push too far, too fast. All right, boys, I got to go eat. I will see you later. God bless. And don't forget, the Lord loves you and all that stuff. You take care. Bye-bye.